That night, everything felt perfect. It was Christmas. Inside a warm home, a child was sleeping peacefully. No one thought anything was wrong. But by morning, everything had changed. It was Christmas night. The house was still glowing softly, and the lights on the tree flickered quietly. Presents sat unopened in the living room, and the family had just returned home after a long day. Everything felt normal, almost too perfect. That night, the child was inside that house, asleep in what should have been the safest place. No one suspected anything. The night passed quietly, and time moved forward as if nothing had happened. Then morning came. Her mother woke up just like any other day and looked around the house. That's when she saw it, a piece of paper on the staircase. Not a short note, but a long message. At first, it didn't make sense, but as she kept reading, it became clear. Her daughter was gone, and someone was demanding money. At that moment, it still looked like a kidnapping, but something didn't feel right. The doors were locked, and there were no signs of forced entry. That single detail quietly changed everything. That morning inside that house, something unexplainable had begun, and at the center of it all was a child, JonBenét Ramsey. What really happened inside that house that night? That note wasn't ordinary. It wasn't rushed. It was long and detailed, as if someone had taken their time writing it. The message was clear. They had the girl, and they wanted money. $118,000, an oddly specific number, not too big, not too small. And it matched exactly the father's bonus. That wasn't coincidence. Someone knew this family. Even stranger, the note appeared to have been written inside the house. The paper and the pen, everything came from within, which meant someone had entered that home and stayed long enough to write it without being noticed. At that point, this no longer looked like a simple kidnapping. The police were called and people began arriving. Friends, neighbors. The house quickly became busy, but something critical had already been lost. The scene. It was no longer controlled. People moved freely, and that mistake would follow the case forever. Then, hours later, something unexpected happened. In the basement, the father found his daughter, and in that moment, everything changed. By the time police arrived, this was no longer just a kidnapping, but there was no clear direction. The scene was chaotic and people kept coming and going. Crucial moments were slipping away. Then the contradictions began. The basement window was broken, suggesting someone had entered from outside. There were also unidentified footprints, but at the same time, other evidence told a different story. The note had been written inside. It would have taken time, and yet no one saw anything. No one heard anything. Then another detail emerged. Undigested pineapple was found in JonBenét's stomach, but her family insisted she hadn't eaten any. So when did she eat it, and with whom? Every clue pointed in two directions. An intruder from outside, or someone already inside. But neither explanation was complete, and the truth began to slip further away. The investigation had begun, but it was already too late. The house had not been secured. When police arrived, family and friends were already inside, moving freely through the space, through rooms, up and down the stairs, in and out. Every movement changed the scene. What had been touched? What had been moved? What had originally been there? It all became unclear. The original scene was gone, and with it, perhaps the most important evidence. At the time, no one realized how critical that mistake would be. The investigation continued, and people expected answers, but instead, everything became more complicated. Not clearer, just more complicated. Then, another force entered the case. Public attention and the media quickly took over the story, and at the center of it all was the Ramsey family. A crime inside a home, no clear sign of intrusion, a note written inside. That was enough. People began to ask, was it really an outsider? Or someone already in that house? The questions spread, and soon they became something else. Speculation, assumptions, stories. And once that started, it became harder to tell what was real and what was not. The pressure mounted. The investigation moved forward, but not closer to the truth. Without solid answers, it kept going. Both theories had flaws. Neither explained everything, and slowly, the case began to stall. What remained were not answers, only questions. As time passed, the case drew more attention. It became more than a crime. It became a mystery. People wanted answers, and some believed someone already knew the truth. Suspects emerged, names were revealed, reported, and then faded away, but none of them led anywhere. Then one day a man came forward and he said he was responsible. At first it seemed convincing. He knew details that shook people. Could this be it? Could this finally be the end? Hope returned, but it didn't last. As the investigation continued, his story began to fall apart. The details didn't match. The memories weren't accurate. The explanation collapsed, and eventually his confession was proven false. Once again, the case returned to the beginning, but something had changed. New technology, DNA analysis, evidence that once meant nothing began to speak again. DNA found at the scene did not match the family, which brought back a possibility. An outsider, someone who'd been inside that house that night. But even that wasn't enough. No one could say when it was left or how, and so the same question remained. An intruder or something else entirely? Time moved on. People forgot. But this case never disappeared because it never had an answer. Years passed. Then more years. Seasons changed and memories faded, but this case remained because it was never solved. Investigations continued and theories were made. Some suspected the family, others believed in an intruder, but no theory led to certainty. As time went on, answers became more distant. The case was archived, the files were stored, and the investigation grew quiet. But it never truly ended. New technology, new analysis. Each time, the case resurfaced. Could this be the moment? Could we finally know? But the answer never came. There was no confirmed suspect, and that made it even stranger. Something happened that night inside that house, but how it began and how it ended, no one can fully explain. So, the case remains between two possibilities: someone inside or someone who came in and vanished without a trace. But neither is complete, and only one truth remains. That night, a child died, and we still don't know why. Time keeps moving, but that question remains frozen. That night ended, but the case did not. Time moved forward and new stories came, bigger ones, more shocking ones, faster news. But this case never disappeared. Why? Because it began so normally. It was Christmas, a warm home, a safe place, a family, and that is what made it so disturbing. We believe danger exists outside, in strangers, in dark streets, in the unknown. But this case quietly breaks that belief. Even in the most familiar place, something unexplainable can happen. And in that moment, we might not even notice what happened inside that house that night. The answer is still there, still waiting. Was it someone inside or someone who came in and disappeared? We are still standing between those possibilities, searching for certainty. But maybe the truth was closer than we thought, or maybe we never saw it at all. JonBenét Ramsey, her name remains a question, and that question is still unanswered. If it were you, how would you explain it? This story ends here. But in the darkness, stories remain. Will you stay for the next one? Dark Case Hub.